This is Frank James, and we're about to go down a rabbit hole of the last 48 hours of his life that is going to blow your mind. This is a lot of stuff you haven't seen anywhere else, so stick with me. We're even going to go deep on the criminal complaint to see all the evidence that the police have gathered so far, stuff that has not been reported anywhere. So stick with me today. This is one of the weird things I noticed going into Frank James videos on YouTube. When I found them, he had about 400 subscribers. Now his account's been deleted, completely scrubbed from the internet. But in a lot of them, not only did he rant against white people and Jewish people and various other people, including black people at times, but he also liked to be really drunk and high when he did so. Here's an example of him talking about this.
All right, so I tried to get high by drinking some Jim Beam.
Always the glasses in the hat.
To make this video. I wanted to be high to make this video because I felt that I could really seem to do my best work when I'm high.
I seem to do my best work when I'm high, he said. So how did we get from the guy recording these videos stoned and drunk, drinking Jim Beam in his room with all the hate spewing out of his mouth to an audience of about 400 to the guy that made his way into the subway? And you see him right here. He's got the orange vest on. He's got a mask on, keeping things safe in the subway. And he rolls this bag on, which was full of weapons, smoke bombs, and more. We're going to look into that bag in just a moment. The way we're going to do that and get to all this information is I have obtained the actual criminal complaint against Frank James. This literally is the United States of America against Frank James, and it's got photos, it's got all the details. It's very, very good. Some weird stuff I wanted to cover first, though. There were two moments, one with the governor of New York and then one with the mayor, that were pretty cringe. The moment news was released that they had caught the suspect from the New York subway attack. Here's the first example. Here is Hochul, the Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York.
Well, breaking news. There are reports that the suspect has been arrested.
They both did this. That's the mayor, or that's the governor, rather. Here's the mayor, Eric Adams. And Mayor Adams did this even more so like Barack Obama after Osama bin Laden's death.
My fellow New Yorkers, we got him. We got him. Can I thank men and women, the New York City Police Department enough?
All right, we got him. He says, we got him. Well, why did it take you so long to get him? How did he roam the streets for 18 hours? Reminder, Frank James didn't live in New York. This wasn't where he was living. How did he make it out there for so long? And one other thing I did want to mention is there's a bunch of attempts to rewrite history and sort of gaslight everybody who saw these videos on his YouTube channel. So CNN says videos include racist and misogynistic language. Okay, so you think they're going to get into all this anti-white nonsense that he was getting to. But they frame it up as this way from CNN. And I saw this, the Daily Beast had this until they just recently changed one of their articles too. There's a couple articles like this. That speech was a common theme throughout James' videos, in which he reportedly espoused hatred towards African Americans. So they're trying to frame this as if James is Frank James is against black people, is anti-black. He's racist against black people. Well, the comments that he makes that they cite when they're talking about this is an example. You know, the new Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Jackson. He's mad at her. Yes, he's mad at her because of this.
I had no idea with that African name that she would be married to a white man. One of my subscribers brought that to my attention. Yeah. Our black sister Supreme Court Justice, power to the people, is married to a fucking white man. She's fucking bitch. I don't believe this shit.
This is the anti-black sentiment that they talk about. It's when somebody like Justice Ketanji Jackson, who is black, is married to a white person that really causes the upset. I'm not going to play this video for you, but here's one he recorded that was on his channel where he's just walking down the street in New York, I guess, or wherever he is, and he's just saying racist things to everybody. F you and your white ass, you white racist MFer. Then he goes after an Asian guy and even mocks the accent of the Asian person. Then after a Spanish speaking person, the guy's just literally spewing hate everywhere he possibly can. This is Zach Dannon, and he's the 21-year-old security camera installer who actually found Frank James and called his attention to the police to go arrest him.
Guys, please, the people was walking behind him. I told him, guys, keep far from him. Please, this guy is gonna do something. Like this, people think I am crazy. Like nobody tries to believe me. Like I told him, guys, trust me, this is the guy. And I see the police walking from over there. I thought the police, this is the guy. He did that problem in Brooklyn. This guy, catch him, guys, catch him. And he catch him. Thank God we catch him.
We catch him, he says. That's a lot better than the governor or the mayor, I think. And there he is. Catch him they did. That's Frank James in cuffs. This is the actual video of the arrest going down right here on this busy street. He's still in New York. He was in Manhattan. They think he may have called Crime Stoppers on himself. And here they are arresting him before we get to this criminal complaint, which has all the info, all the dirt. There he is right there. Bring him into the back of the police car there, the NYPD arresting Frank James. So here it is, the United States of America against Frank James, the defendant, and they start with some of the details, okay? They say on or about April 12th, 2022, and in the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendant Frank James did knowingly and without lawful authority and permission commit an act including the use of a dangerous weapon with the intent to cause death and serious bodily injury to one or more persons on a terminal structure, track, and facility used in the operation of a mass transportational vehicle. Whoa! That's a lot to start with, but what that means is dude pulled off an attack or tried to on a train. He sucked at the attack he pulled off, thank God, but he tried to do this. So now into the facts of the case, and here's where there's some interesting stuff. The defendant, Frank James, is a 62-year-old man who was born in New York City, who resided in recent years in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they said. At approximately 8:26 a.m. on April 12th, 2022, New York City's 911 Emergency Dispatch Center began receiving telephone calls from New York City transit riders on an N subway train located in Brooklyn, New York. The riders reported they heard multiple gunshots and explosions on the train and that the car was filled with smoke. Videos posted shortly afterwards to open source channels such as Twitter appeared to depict the scene. The videos showed a stopped subway train that was pouring smoke out its doors. You've all probably seen that video. The videos also showed one or more subway passengers who were lying prone on the floor of the station just outside the train. We're going to get into some photos in this actual filing in just a moment here. Law enforcement officers who interviewed passengers were told that the perpetrator set off one or more smoke-emitting devices in the train car, wore a gas mask or similar protective device, and appeared to be carrying a large number of items. Some passengers also told the law enforcement officers the perpetrator fired a gun multiple times at passengers in the train car. Some passengers also told law enforcement officers the assailant was dressed in what appeared to be a construction worker's vest. This is that construction worker's vest. That there is Frank James making his way into the subway. Searches of the scene of the attack revealed 2 bags, both of which were recovered from the scene. Here's what's in Frank James's bags. First bag contained, among other items, a firearm, a plastic container containing gasoline, a torch, a U-Haul key, and multiple bank cards. The firearm was a Glock 17 pistol manufactured in Austria. Records provided by the Bureau of ATF revealed the firearm was lawfully purchased in Ohio by an individual named Frank Robert James. Marks on the serial number of the firearm appear to reflect an attempt was made to deface the serial number as reflected in the photo below. So now we see an actual photo in this criminal complaint against Frank James, and there does appear to be some work done here to possibly scratch off the serial number on one of the guns that he used. The second bag contained fireworks, which are black powder-filled explosives as depicted in the photograph below. And you can see here the smoke bombs, the fireworks that Frank James had along with him. He ditched all this and left it in these bags. And again, a big question remains out there. How was he able to wander around New York take the train again. I kid you not. He took the train again and went into Manhattan. He was on the train again. He was able to do this with Manhattan authorities, New York authorities, Brooklyn authorities, everybody supposedly on his tail. One of the bank cards located in the first bag with the firearm was a debit card issued by a United States institution in the name of Frank James. Multiple telephone numbers were related to this or were attached to this particular car. Records provided by U-Haul revealed that on April 11th, 2022, this was a couple of days before the attack, an individual named Frank James rented the U-Haul in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and a white Chevy Express cargo van with Arizona plates, the U-Haul vehicle. So it wasn't like a traditional U-Haul vehicle, it was a U-Haul van. Gave his driver's license at the facility. Here's a picture of our friend Frank James, who's hopefully more sober there than he was in this particular video, though he did say he sobered up before he made his hateful rant in that one. New York Police Department video surveillance cameras, which at least they were working, because guess what? The subway cameras weren't. Those subway cameras were not working at all, which is a travesty in and of itself. New York City Police Department video surveillance cameras recorded the U-Haul vehicle driving over the Verrazano Narrows Bridge at 4:11 a.m. on April 12th and entering Brooklyn. So there they are. They find the vehicle with him behind the wheel, making his way in. All right, we're getting through this. We're almost there. At approximately 6:12 a.m. on April 12th, a surveillance camera catches him at another crossroad here in Brooklyn. You can see him, and you can see him getting out of the vehicle. That's him right there. That's Frank James. Law enforcement subsequently located the U-Haul vehicle parked on the side of the road. Notably, it's about 2 blocks from the New York City Transit and train subway stop. So that's him that you see getting out. In fact, see this right there? The very same jacket that he's wearing right there. He's one and the same. That's your guy. That's who made his way in here. Law enforcement officers spoke to an individual whose identity is known to the affiant who was on the subway during the attack. The individual identified the attacker as a heavyset man wearing that orange reflective jacket, yellow hard hat, and paper face mask, carrying a large roller bag. Law enforcement officers then showed the surveillance video that confirmed that it was indeed him. The attack took place at about 8:26 a.m. on April 12th. At 8:40, a surveillance camera recorded the individual who appears to match Frank James' Wisconsin driver's license photo walking up the stairs. So he just walked his happy ass out of there on the New York City Transit End Station subway stop and hauled ass. This was him leaving after he shot up dozens of people. See you later. I'm out of here. He dips and leaves, and Frank James is then on the run. Law enforcement agents recovered the jacket from the scene, they say, and there was a receipt for a storage facility as well. Then he visited that storage facility the day before the attack, they said. In the storage unit, they found a couple of 9mm, an AR-15, and more ammunition, which could have been more problems coming from this one angry, racist man. Then they went to an apartment. They said he had ordered Lyft rides to this apartment more than 21 times. That's confirming it's his. More guns, more smoke canisters, and that kind of stuff. Then they talk about those videos, like this one, the YouTube videos that have since been deleted from YouTube. YouTube nuked these things. In videos posted publicly on YouTube, he made various statements about the New York subway system. Among other things, he made statements to the mayor. What are you doing, brother? What's happening with this homeless situation? Every car I went to was loaded with homeless people. It was so bad I couldn't even stand. And he said James also made statements in sub and substance about various conspiracy theories, including that. And so the message to me is I should have gotten a gun and just started shooting MFers. So then they asked for the arrest warrant for this particular guy, and that's that. They then ended up arresting successfully, as you can see, Frank James. Now he finds himself behind bars and facing life in prison. What do you think about this guy? What do you think about the coverage so far? In an attempt by some media outlets to say, well, he's actually an anti-black racist, which seems like something that not a lot of people are going to buy into once they do a little research on a story like this. What do you think about the fact that the New York City authorities couldn't seem to find this guy for like 12 or 18 hours? They couldn't find him. He walked smoothly right out of the subway after shooting dozens of people. And they couldn't find a pretty identifiable guy for a very, very long time. That to me is pretty shocking, especially considering the way that it was handled when they found him and the way Mayor Adams in particular thought it was his Osama bin Laden
My
moment.
fellow New Yorkers, we got him.
Say it again.
We got him.
Again?
Can I thank
Oh, just 2 times, I guess. There you go. Let me know what you think about this situation and what you think the sentence is going to be for Frank James, what you think maybe his motivations were, what you think about the YouTube videos, and should YouTube have taken down his channel? Let me know in the comments below, as always. Facebook.com/The News Junkie, hit that follow button. YouTube.com/The News Junkie, hit subscribe for videos like this all the time. I'll hang out with you in the comments as I always do and interact. Appreciate you watching this. Thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you again real soon.